What's going on, everyone? Hope you're having a fantastic day. It's great to see you. For those of you who have been around the channel for a while, you know that I have a podcast called Project Passion and that I host using Buzzsprout. I'm a massive fan of the service that Buzzsprout provides. So I love the product and I love the team over there. They're constantly improving upon the service and adding on more features. And they recently just added on a few more things that are super exciting and that I think will bring a ton of value to all of its users. So we're gonna walk through those in this video. So if you're on the fence about Buzzsprout, this should help you make a decision either way. And if you're already hosting with Buzzsprout, this can help you maximize your experience using the service. So you're gonna hear about these new features and walk through them right from the horse's mouth. We actually have Buzzsprout's head of marketing, Albin, today on the channel to help us walk through all the new features and explain why they're awesome. So let's get into it. Let's show you these new features and how they can help improve your experience and your podcast. Let's do it. So for anybody who is new, real quick, my name is Ben. I release tons of videos on this channel helping you to level up your podcast. So if that's one of your goals, be sure to click subscribe and hit the bell button so you never miss a future video that can help you do that. Just one heads up before we dive in, Albin and I were recording this using Zoom and he was also screen recording at the same time. So running all of those things really slowed down the time that it took to perform specific actions. So you can expect a far faster user experience when you're doing this stuff for yourself. So with that said, let's dive in and let's hear from Albin.
All right, Ben. So I could just go ahead and kind of walk you through. This is one of our personal podcasts, one of the ones I'm on. And
Perfect.
I can just kind of go through and show you a few of the main features of Buzzsprout.
That's perfect, man. You're the star of the show. Show us what you've been working on.
Okay. So, the main thing for Buzzsprout is it's got to be super easy. We started out helping nonprofits and churches get online. And if you're a nonprofit, the people often helping you are maybe not super techy, or maybe you're only able to help for 6 months during a certain period of their lives. So everything in Buzzsprout has to be super simple. So we just grab this audio file, drop it over, and it's uploading. So while the episode uploads, we just go through and we put in our episode title and description. Normally this would go pretty fast, but since we're recording video right now, it's going to go a little slower. So this is just our test episode. One of the nice things we've done is we've built in the ability for you to add bold, italic, lists, all that into your episode description so that all the players that actually recognize that, will make it look great. So, in this episode, and so you maybe do, benefits of YouTube.
So this means that when you actually send it off to the directories, it'll all be formatted like this?
Exactly. Some of them won't respect it. So okay. Spotify doesn't love it. But a lot of them do. And so you just get this little bit of a benefit. And if you have things like an affiliate code, you could put that in here too, link to my Amazon page. And then we actually could create that, turn that into a link.
Oh, cool.
I'll just grab a random URL. But anyway, so once we've done that, you basically create those show notes while you're uploading. Over here on the side, we've got the ability to publish your episode at specific times. So we're going to leave this unpublished since it's just a test episode that I put up here. You can do custom artwork, and there's lots of other options. The main one to really worry about is explicit content. If you're dropping a bunch of F-bombs in your episodes, make sure you flag that because Apple does not like it when you mess that up. All right, so we're saving that, and this episode is up and processing. And so one of the nice things we do that's actually turned on for this episode is called Magic Mastering. And what Magic Mastering is, it's almost like an Instagram filter for your audio. So what we're doing is a lot of times when you have a discussion with somebody, one person's mic is kind of turned down, or maybe they talk kind of far away. And so you don't get a great crisp audio. And one person's high, one person's low. Maybe there's a hum in the background. And that is really easy to clean up in mastering for somebody who understands how to do mastering. So they do a high pass, low pass filter, they do noise reduction, they level voices, they do all sorts of stuff. Instead of asking you to learn about that, if you turn on Magic Mastering on your episodes, you don't have to, then we will actually do all of that for you. And so like this episode right here has had that done, and it does a significant improvement on the audio itself. So that's like a unique feature to Buzzsprout that we've had a lot of people say, I used to master my episodes, I turned this on, and it's been a huge benefit for me because it saves an hour of your workflow. Now that's being automatically done.
For sure. So do you have as much opportunity to use that as you do hours within Buzzsprout?
Yeah. So as soon as well, I guess I should go back and talk about how Buzzsprout charges. We have a free plan, but as soon as you upgrade to paid plans, everything is based on how many hours of new content you upload.
Mm-hmm.
You're not paying for the bandwidth. You're not paying for your back catalog, all of these episodes that you have back here. You're just paying for the episodes you uploaded this month.
Mm-hmm.
And so the base plan has 3 hours of new content a month for $12. If you want to add that magic mastering thing, because it is pretty expensive for us to do it, it's another $6, but it covers all of your time for that month. But for most people, it's if you're actually, running a podcast for a brand or a business, you're able to make money off of it and you want to run a real professional podcast, it's a great feature to turn on. But if you're doing this as a hobby and you're having fun with friends and you're trying to be like a little bit conscious of cost, then you can leave it off and maybe down the line you try it out.
For sure. That's a huge time saver. That's awesome.
So we've got a few other things in here that are pretty nice. You have the ability to create chapter markers in your episodes, transcriptions. If you want to have that full rich transcription, transcriptions are probably the best piece of them is it allows people to share your podcast more readily. I can't tell you how many times I've listened to an episode gone, this section was really interesting. And then I go online to try to grab that quote or share it with somebody and they don't have any transcripts. It's pretty nice to have that as up there. And they also help Google find you. Now episodes show up in Google search engine results. It's nice to have those transcriptions available and searchable by Google. We've got some other, unique features, but one of them is this video soundbite. And what we're doing is we're basically letting you pick a 30-second clip from your episode. And we're going to create, or I guess you can make it up to a minute, but we're going to make a little audiogram of your episode that's totally branded to your colors and your specific podcast. And the whole goal is when you're on social media, we want something like a video playing, not just audio, like a little bit of like a trailer to recommend people like, hey, this sound good? Go hop back and listen to that full episode. I'll give you a quick example of these. So over on like the Buzzsprout Twitter, we get tagged in tons of these every day.
Yeah.
But here's an example. Here's how one person styled theirs.
Oh, it's awesome.
And you can see that one, but then we could also get another version. This is a totally different format and how this one was featured. And so you're able to put your artwork, the title of your podcast, the episode, and get that audiogram that actually is matching the waveform of your voice. And so when someone's scrolling through Twitter, what we want them to do is stop, look at this, go, oh, that's actually pretty interesting. I want to see what this is about. I see that this is audio. They click, they listen to 30 seconds to a minute. And as quickly as possible, we want to get them off of Facebook or Twitter into a podcasting app, subscribing to your episode, rather than trying to get them to listen to the entire thing on a website. So flipping back over to Buzzsprout, the next thing I'd probably show you is the directories. So one of the like tough parts of podcasting is getting your podcast into all the directories. It's kind of like the moment you feel like you've arrived when you're in Apple Podcasts, you see that page up there, you're seeing your episode show up in Google search results, your friends are pulling up their Spotify and they can see the podcast listed. And so we actually support all the major podcast directories. And a lot of these, all you do is you would just go and click, make sure that you've included all the correct information, and we kind of make sure, help you do that. And it's one-click submission process. So you would just click it.
That's awesome.
And it's immediately in there. A few of the exceptions are like Pandora. They want to totally approve the show. They do a full human review. Apple does a full human review. So some of these take a little longer, but it's, for the most part, you click it and you go right through the steps that we give you and you're done. Another one of the big things is stats. So once you're in all of these directories, you have the ability to see a little bit of like how your show is growing. So this is the last 30 days of my podcast, Buzzcast, just about the podcasting industry. And you can kind of see like, hey, we're seeing peaks every 2 weeks on Fridays, which makes sense because that's the day that I release it. And then we also see a peak on Tuesday because that's the day we send out our email newsletter. And in the email newsletter, we include a link to our episodes. So what's really great here is imagine you're starting a new podcast and you're actually doing some marketing efforts. You want to actually see some new peaks and you can actually consider, oh, those marketing efforts are working. I ran a bunch of ads towards this podcast and I saw a peak. So you can kind of get a feel for, is this working or, what's working, what's not. Just for the enjoyment of it, you can do cumulative and you can see your growth over time. So we can like look at you can see we really hit an inflection point in 2009 where the podcast started growing quite a bit more. We can drill down into individual episodes. So here's an episode we did on what makes a good podcast. You can see the days that it did its best. You can see how people are listening to the episode. So this specific one is actually embedded on our website as an example of the player. And so you can see a lot of the plays come that way. But you can also see people listening on Apple Podcast, Buzzsprout site, and you can literally look through every one of these apps just for this one episode. So you can see things like, I got into Google Podcasts and I've actually seen 47 plays from it. I'm glad that I went ahead and submitted there. If you want to see it just for the entire podcast itself or for a subset of episodes, you have the ability to look at every one of these, which apps are working for you, which devices, which categories. So we've gotten 5 people to listen to this podcast on a smart TV.
That's awesome.
So it's just kind of fun. Like you can kind of see it and start to understand your audience a little better. If your stats look like this and you're seeing, wow, I've got a ton of Apple, but I'm really not reaching people on Android. Is there something I could be doing to reach? Because a lot of podcast listeners are on Android and I'm only seeming to reach the ones on iPhone. What could I be doing to reach out to these, to people who may not have heard about the show yet?
No, it's super powerful.
And we get the same thing when we flip over to the listener locations. So I'm able to see around the world, where are people located and specifically like which locations. Like we're in Jacksonville, Florida. So we'd expect that to be up here, but I have no idea, but there's now a cluster in Blackheath, England.
That's amazing.
We have a local podcaster meetup and a guy was talking, he does a podcast about comic books called The Short Box. And they said whenever they would go overseas, one of the things they do is they go by local shops, comic book shops. And then they always ask like, hey, is it cool if we leave a couple of our cards here on the table? We're going to actually mention like that we came here, but we're just going to leave some of these cards. And then when they started getting these listeners, like city stats, they were like, we actually could see clusters around each of the cities we'd been to, because they
From
would
their
like
cards?
travel to Europe, drop the cards, and they were like, yeah, we went to like Munich like 2 years ago, and now there's a little cluster of listeners there.
That's so cool.
And you can just start like kind of building connections. I know of a church in Jacksonville that actually had someone reach out from Africa saying, I was listening to your episode. What if like our church is like connected and you came
That's
and did like
amazing.
a mission in Africa?
That's
And
so
so
cool.
you've just got all these like, things you can learn about your listeners.
It's amazing.
So that's a couple of like kind of the unique features of Buzzsprout. Though one of the things I think people often at least tell us the most is the way we think about Buzzsprout is we're only going to be successful to the extent that we can make podcasters successful. And that means actually helping people create valuable shows that are doing something beneficial for them. So we don't want to sell you on something like you're going to be so much bigger than you actually will be. We don't, try to get you to sign up and pay before you even have a show. That's why we have the free accounts. But all that mentality goes back to, we really want to help. So you go in here, you fill out a help form, and mostly we're going to get back to you within an hour.
Wow.
And we've got people who really understand podcasting. So these are all people, they're all US based, and they all work in the podcasting industry and are there to help. So you're not just going to be kind of back and forthing with someone who doesn't really understand what's going on. We also create just a ton of content. So, that goes to, we put a ton of things on our blog, our YouTube channel. We just try to answer all the questions that are out there. So, a bunch of people are working from home. So we put up an article on how to improve the acoustics in your home podcasting space. We have people reaching out about branded podcasts. So we put stuff together. And so we want to really become a partner with people to help you become successful. And kind of one of the, the things that we do there is we've got a pretty big Facebook group. We're reaching about 10,000 members now.
It's huge.
We're about to add 10 right here live.
Welcome.
Yeah, so maybe not 10,000. Yeah, we're getting close. And but it's just a way for lots of people to, somebody comes in and says hello, and everybody starts chatting and help, trying to be there with them.
That's
because
awesome.
It's pretty common for a podcaster to feel a little bit, I don't know, isolated is maybe the right word. You're on one side of the microphone. You see numbers on the other end. You see, hey, 40 people listen to this, but you don't really know who those people are. And one of the things we're doing at the community, the Facebook community, is we're actually bringing a lot of podcasters together so that you go out there and you say, hey, I just bought the Samsung Q2U, but I'm thinking about upgrading to this other mic. What do you guys think? And then you get 4 responses from people who made the exact same upgrade.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Explaining like the real benefits or negatives to that. Yeah. So I think that's a few of the things I would highlight about Buzzsprout. I mean, is there anything else I can kind of show or any questions I could answer?
I think the question that I get a lot is people are very concerned about monetizing their podcast. And I know Buzzsprout provides a few different opportunities to go about doing that. So can you speak to those a little bit?
Sure. So since I'm here, resources page, this is where we put all our videos, blog posts, and we negotiate on your behalf discounts to a lot of products. But for monetization, the big thing we recommend is the affiliate marketplace. This is where we are connecting you with people, with affiliates for your podcast. The requirements to get into here have to be, they actually pay you in cash. If you have like MeUndies as your affiliate, then all you get are like MeUndies coupons. At some point, you've got enough underwear.
Yeah, you tap out.
So we make sure, they make sure they pay you in cash. They pay you something that you couldn't have received elsewhere. It has to be unique and bigger inside of the Buzzsprout account. And then you've got to have no limits on how big the show has to be. So, I said that in kind of a confusing way. You shouldn't have to have a massive show to get an affiliate.
Okay.
The entire point of an affiliate is, hey, I'm betting on myself. I believe that I can send really high quality leads to your business.
Mm-hmm.
And by me doing that, by taking that bet, you actually can earn much more of the rewards. When you're sending a real customer, they pay you real money.
Yeah, exactly.
And so we say, like, you shouldn't have to like negotiate, be like, hey, I've got 1,000 listeners. And they're like, come back when you're 5,000. They should be like, I have 12 listeners, but you're going to pay me for everyone that signs up. And so
Yeah.
they should just accept you. You shouldn't have to have some certain level of influence to be accepted.
I love that. That's awesome.
And I can't tell you what it is, but there is a section coming here in, the next 2 weeks. So by the time this video is out, there may be something else there for people.
Awesome. A little teaser. That's amazing. Well, thanks so much for walking through everything, man. I really, really appreciate it. I think that this should give people more of understanding and familiarity with everything. I know I love using it. It's always super easy. So I appreciate you walking through that.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's always great, fun to show it to everybody. And hopefully it's helpful to people and they're able to get their shows online.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So as you can see, there's a ton of new and exciting things that Buzzsprout is providing to its customers and really can help you to amplify your podcast experience for yourself and for your listeners. So out of all the features that we just outlined, I want to know which one you're the most excited about. Let me know in the comment section. If you're new to podcasting or you're looking for some guidance, I've also linked my beginner's podcast checklist, which is completely free, that you can download to give yourself a solid framework to follow to make sure that you have everything that you need to be successful. Completely for free, linked in the pinned comment. Go check it out. If you enjoyed the video, please take 2 seconds, smash the like button. It helps me out a ton and I'll love you forever for doing it. So seems like a no-brainer to me. Go ahead and do that. And also don't forget to subscribe to the channel, join the team, and hit the bell button so you never miss a future upload that can help you crush it. If you're looking for some help with editing your episodes together, I've linked a super easy to follow GarageBand tutorial that takes you step by step. And if you're looking for new and creative ways to monetize off of your show, I've linked another video for you to check out as well. Thank you so much for watching. Have yourself a great day. Keep crushing it with your podcast, and I look forward to speaking with you again soon.